Welcome to Hindsight Outdoors, where hindsight leads to insight. On this particular hunt, I decided that I was going to go west of where I'm at. That's usually, they had less snow there. And so I wanted to go see if the birds made it through. I picked a particular spot where I had hunted once the previous month. It had standing corn, it had a big cattail slough, and it had a big shelter belt. We're just out here. Yeah. After 3 blizzards, this is really just to come out and check to see if birds survived. We'll take the dogs and see what else is out there, but the snow is not as bad here than further east, so I'm thinking the birds should make it out okay. We'll do a little hunting and see how it goes. Damn. Come here. We spooked all the birds.
So. Yeah. Get it. Get it. Definitely not for the faint of heart. Come on, double, double, double. There he is. Yep, we got him. Yep, we got him. There. We got him. Okay, go to bed. Oh, time to put you to bed. Dang it. Would have been our limit. A lot of mistakes.
So before we review the hindsight and insights gained into this hunt, I thought I'd share two foresights. These foresights were gained from past experience, and also, like I said, I hunted this field once before. So I had an idea of how I would attack this field. So let's review those before we take a look at the insight. The first foresight I had in planning this hunt in this particular field was, everybody knows late season these birds are very educated. There's only one place for hunters to park, and the birds are very well aware that once a car pulls in, they know that danger has arrived, and so they're not going to hang around for me to get there to get a decent shot. But I expected the birds to be near the tree line feeding in the corn. I was there at about 11 a.m. and so I knew that the birds would still be feeding, and they would be out in the open in the cornfield, the standing corn, just loafing and feeding. That's where I expected the birds to be. But the birds also expected that hunters would be walking right along the tree line, and so in most cases, if I took that approach, I'd be within 100 yards and the birds would be gone. So I needed to take a different approach. So the approach I took was, rather than following the tree line, I decided to go about 50 yards further south and hit the corn in the middle, and I would pin the birds between myself and the trees. Yes, the birds were probably going to run and fly on the other side of the tree line, but the fact that the cattail slough was also on the west end and on the south end, there was a chance that the birds would probably fly into the cattail rather than flying over the tree line and then over the road, and there was really nothing on the other side. So chances are the birds were going to fly south. So that's why I decided to hit this field in the middle. The second foresight I had going into this hunt was, I knew there was going to be a lot of snow on the ground, so walking was going to be difficult. So rather than carrying my 12 gauge shotgun, I decided to carry the 20. It's a little lighter gun. The shells were lighter on my backpack, and so I needed to go light into the field. Now, how did I do? Let's go back and review. Again, hindsight is 20/20. So these are the things I picked out that I wish I would have done differently. So the first hindsight was that I should not have ran both dogs. I should have just ran Thanos, my German Shorthair, and left Jet in the car, and then let Jet run on the next field. But instead, I ran both of them when I knew better that when the birds are this educated and this spooky, you don't run two dogs, you just run one. So when I ran both dogs, what they have a tendency to do is that they get competitive. And so Thanos will hunt farther than he normally does. When I hunt him alone, he's within about 50 yards. But when I hunt Jet with me, Jet will cover that range, and therefore Thanos will be out there between 50 to 100 yards, and that's just a little bit too far for me. And because that pushed Thanos to hunt farther from me, I had to keep looking at the Garmin 200 to find out where he was. And so I spent a lot of time just looking at that GPS. And then when he did go on point, he was about 50 to 70 yards away from me. In the first bird contact, again, I totally lost track of him because I was in the thick grass, and I just could not figure out where he was. And I heard his beep. His alerts came, but I just did not get there in time. And as you can see, he got too close to the birds, and the birds flushed, beyond gun range. The second hindsight was, I know for sure I overdressed. I went in knowing that there's going to be a lot of snow, even though it was between 20 to 30 degrees. That's good temperature to walk, to hunt in. I overdressed this time. I had more jackets on than I normally do, and that's mainly because I knew there's going to be a lot of snow. I just didn't want to get into a situation where either I cramped up or I got stuck in the field and I just didn't have enough warmth on me. I just did not want to get into that situation. So I did wear a little bit heavier than I normally do, and so 30 to 40 minutes into the hunt, I was just drenched in sweat, and as you can hear, I was just huffing and puffing because it was really hard walking through that deep snow. Now I'm going to also classify this as overdressed, but my gloves were too thick. I normally do not wear leather gloves. I wear synthetic gloves, and in this particular case, I put on the leather gloves, and I had a liner glove inside as well. So that made it too thick, too bulky. And because of that, when I went to disengage the safety for a shot, I could not feel the safety button. As you saw, the first bird that was within gun range, I couldn't get a shot because I could not disengage the safety button. And that's one of my gripes about the Rite Masai Mara, is that the safety button, to me, it should be bigger. It's hard to engage or disengage, especially when you're wearing gloves. Another issue that arose from me wearing the thick gloves was when I was carrying the Masai Mara, I had inadvertently depressed a button on the gun that basically releases a shell from the magazine into the chamber. And what that does is when I take that first shot, it tries to feed, but there's already a round in the chamber. And so it'll eject the spent shell, but when it tries to feed, there's basically two shells coming in, and that caused a misfeed. In the Rite Masai Mara, that mechanism is very similar to that of the Benelli guns. So that button is there. When you press it, it actually releases a round from the magazine into the chamber to be fed into the battery. So by me wearing gloves and the way I was carrying it, I had inadvertently depressed that button and let a shell into that chamber. And finally, the insight that I gained for hunting this field, in particular to this field, is the next time I hunt this field, I know where the birds are going to be. And so instead of attacking the birds directly from where I'm at, where they're going to be expecting me coming, I'm going to have to come behind either from the end of the shelter belt and work my way that way, or I'm going to have to go basically do a circle, half circle, and just kind of loop around and come in from the rear and hit the cattail first. So because their escape route was to head towards that cattail. And as for hunting in this type of weather, perhaps I should look into getting a snowshoe and try hunting in thick snow or deep snow using a snowshoe. I've never used a snowshoe before. I don't know how it's going to work, but it might be worth a shot. And last but not least, if you find the content of this channel to be beneficial, please subscribe and press that like button. Thanks. I'll see you next time. Welcome to Hindsight Outdoors, where hindsight leads to insight. For 2022, the bird season did not end in a very positive note, mainly because we had 3 big blizzards that came through the area, and the area being
Oh shit!